Test. 1, 2, read. It's time for some damn good tacos in college football. We're excited to announce our title sponsor, Torchy's Tacos, for the Arkansas Football Report with Otis Kirk, and the new addition to the Hogville.net family, the Arkansas pregame show starring former Hog running back Marshall Foreman, hosted by Jason Pattison. If you're looking for a place to unwind and call the Hogs, Torchy's is the place. Torchy's location on MLK in Fayetteville is the proud host of the Arkansas pregame show, and it will air 2 hours prior to kickoff of each Fayetteville home game. The Arkansas Football Report airs every Thursday at 7 p.m. in Rogers. Check out the full-service bar on the patio or in the restaurant while you cheer Arkansas on to victory. Torchy's has you covered with the daily drink specials or the taco of the month with their queso that's made in-house fresh daily. Torchy's has 2 convenient locations in Northwest Arkansas, which happen to be the only 2 locations here in the great state of Arkansas. They have you covered for some damn good tacos, and go Hogs. And everybody, welcome Razorback Nation to the June 5th edition of the Arkansas Football Report with Otis Kirk. I'm Jason Pattison. We're here live in Rogers, Torchy's Tacos, as we are every Thursday night. I want to say a special thank you to Jonathan and Marcus for all the hospitality they show us each and every week. Make sure to stop by the Hogville YouTube channel, like and subscribe. Give us those subs. We need those. Keep the content rolling for you guys. Hit that like and subscribe button and watch all the past shows from Otis, Dudley, Kevin, and Marshall. Special thank you to Carbless Cocktails. They are 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and 100 calories per can. Try any of those great flavors that they have to offer at either at your retail or grocer or exclusively here at Torchy's Tacos. Make sure to check out that taco of the month. It's called the hold on just a second, folks. I had it pulled up just a second ago and it just went away on me here. It's called the Front Man. I'm going to tell you. So Otis, I've had 3 this week already.
Really?
Yeah, it's really good. So what it is, it's fried chicken strip with some slaw with vinaigrette, with a little bit of a Asian zing sauce that's a little spicy, a little sweet. And on top of that, they also have a cucumber. And I'm going to tell you what, it is delicious.
I had Trailer Park, 2 of them a while ago, and that's fried chicken too. Yeah, it sounds good. I may try that sometime.
It really is, because you get the salty, the sweet, you get a little bit of the heat, and
I like that Asian taste anyway.
Yeah, it's really, really good. And you guys come up here and try that at any time. So, Otis, let's bring our guest on. I'm going to tell you what, this guy right here, he's you've hit a couple of exactly.
I know Arvis, man. I know him as a quarterback too, though. I mean, I remember when that dude was one hell of a quarterback. I mean, we can talk. I know he's good, great in baseball, but I'm gonna tell you, one hell of a quarterback too. I'm gonna tell you, North Little Rock High School, man, Arvis Harper.
How you doing, guys?
Doing great, man.
Doing great, Arvis. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
No, thank you for the invitation. I feel honored and thankful for the invitation.
Yeah, definitely. It's pretty special with what Arkansas kind of has going so far into this season. I know that, the Super Regionals are going to start on Saturday. If they do make it through the Supers, that means that they're going to be on day 2 if they make it to the College World Series. I think that an extra day of rest, Dudley had mentioned, could possibly be more beneficial to Arkansas than not if they're able to. That means that Zach Root gets an extra day. That means that
it all depends on how well they're playing. You know, if you're playing well, you really don't want that extra day. You don't want that extra time. You want that be able to have that momentum carry over and keep it going. So it all depends. All depends.
It does. And that's a really good point, too, because it was something that the Razorbacks had some problems with the last couple of years where they kind of sputtered into the postseason play where they were not really playing their best baseball. I feel like that they peaked more the middle of the season, and then they started to tail off. And this, I feel like we're building to a paramount at this point because it seems like each and every week that they come out, they may take one step back, but they're taking 2 steps forward.
Right.
Well, I totally agree. Forward. Yeah, last weekend.
I have a tremendous respect for Coach Van Horn, and it's just the last few years, the guys have just peaked at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Building that momentum during the season is so important, and then getting to that moment where you've worked very hard and you put in the time and the effort to get to that moment, and then not be able to finish the moment is very difficult. Very difficult. And he's unfortunately, when those guys have been able to get to the point where the momentum hasn't carried him through it.
He's got a really good team this year. That outfield's what they upgrade tremendously from last year. Upgrade the outfield. Did well in the portal. He got the other low. He got Iredale, some recruiting. Some junior college, some portal, but whatever. Cam Koziel was huge. Just did well in the portal and recruiting, and those guys back from last year. Helfrich.
Yep.
And I told you last week Helfrich would be the star, and he got MVP. The week before I said Iredale.
Arvis, he's 2 for 2 right now.
I said Iredale's one series, and he was the star, and I said Helfrich. He asked me last week. I said Ryder Helfrich, and Ryder's just good. Well, they're all good ball players, man. Justin Thomas Jr. just very underrated out there in center field, man. That kid can just. When you're the center fielder, you got him at center, you got Cam at second, Lowy at short, and then Ryder catching. So your middle is taken care of.
Right.
You know how important that is, Arvis. It's huge, man.
Thing about it is these guys need. I wish they would. How can I put it? The stars need to be stars.
Yeah.
Okay. The part of being a star is being able to perform under the pressure. When everything is not going well, you've got to be that one person. We've got to have that one person to pull it out. You got to have that one person to make that big hit. You got to have that one person to make that big pitch or that big catch or the big stop. You got to have stars be stars, and unfortunately over the last few years, some of the stars haven't come stepped up and in the critical moments, and that makes the difference.
Yeah,
makes the difference.
I thought he stepped up a little more last weekend than he had maybe a couple weekends before that. He can. There's no doubt he's one of the best. I think he's the best player in college baseball. But let's be honest, he had some times where he wasn't delivering, with clutch hits and stuff. Last weekend he did, and hopefully that's a good sign because. They need him. They need him. They need Helfrich. And those guys, and then what you get from Cam, you get from Iredale, you get from Justin, you get from Davalon and Maxwell and those guys. That's good. That's great. But you need your start, like you said. And and I consider Loy and Helper to be the two biggest stars on this team, and then you go from there. And I think Cam Kozel, is it Kozel? How you pronounce it?
Cam Koshel.
Koshel?
Yep.
Okay, Koshel. I think those guys are very good complementary players, but you need Aloy, the older Aloy, and Helfrich to really step up, as Arvis said, and be your stars and produce. And I thought both of them did last weekend,
Right.
And that was huge.
I agree, and that's what I mean. From what I've seen so far this year with the team, it looks really good right now.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like they're ready for the moment, and that's what in all my years of playing, that's what we all prepare for, is get ready for the moment, because you're going to have that moment, and you got to be ready for that moment.
You know what, too? We talk about Wahiwa and Ryder, but also Rude and Gage Wood and Gackle. They stepped up too, and the left-hander, the reliever, what's his name?
Christian Fouch.
No, the left-hander. He got the win in game 1 or 2, maybe.
Gage. Are you talking about Gabe Gackle?
No, Gackle right-hander. Anyway, there's a left-hander over there that got the winner of one of those games. I'll think of his name. But those are your stars, and they stepped up big. Not just the guys, the hitters, but the pitchers too. Yeah. I mean, Gage Wood and Root were big time.
And as you guys know, the farther they go up, the tougher it's going to get.
Yeah.
And dealing with the pressure is going to be the key. Whichever team deals with the pressure the best is the one that's going to. Whoever's ready for that moment and deal with that moment will be the one that moves on.
Mm-hmm. Sorry about that, Arvis. I didn't mean to step on you there, man. I feel like it's when the first team starts to spring a leak, the other team seems to kind of calm down a little bit, because now that they see that they're not the ones that are on the verge of, pipes busting, things kind of happening that are unexplained, like Vahiva kicking a ground ball the first game of the SEC champion or the SEC tournament. Whenever you're in a spot where the glaring spotlight is on you and the other team does have that one moment of, oh shit, that's when your team goes, we got them.
Mm-hmm.
They're ours now.
And you can feel it. You can feel it when you're playing, but see, you got to take advantage of that moment. Okay, when you have a team down, you cannot give them a chance to build any momentum of any kind. I've seen too many games, and I've played in too many games where the shift in momentum can happen so quickly, and it changed the whole entire game. And so, that old saying, you pretty much have to keep your foot on the throat the whole time. And Coach DeBryan always taught us that nothing's over until the last pitch. Until that last pitch is done, everything's still a game, and you have that mentality going in, even if you're up. I've seen too many situations where games have changed, when you were up and you relaxed a little bit. And
Missouri State this year.
Yeah, then you can't do that. Good teams will not do that. And that's what I'm hoping for this team. Is that when you see that you have the other team, when you see that the other team is on the ropes, you don't let them off. Yeah. I mean, you keep doing whatever you have. And Coach Van Horn is very good at that. It's just that he's not a player. Okay, so he's not out there playing. So he depends on the players to do what he's trained them to do for so long. And this year, I think it's going to happen. I really do. I think everything is opened up with some of the teams that have fallen out of the tournament. So I think the door is opened up for us now to come in. As long as we play good ball, I don't think there's anybody out there that can keep us from winning at all.
Now, the one thing that scares me about this team, the one thing, is it seems like, and this is a really good team. This is a really good team. I've said that even when they've lost. I've been called sunshine pupper, but I'm telling you, this is really good. But what scares me, when it goes bad, it seems to go bad for the whole team.
Yeah.
I mean, when it goes just like that SEC tournament he was talking about, Lloyd kicks that ball. Could have had 2 errors on one play, you know, and then if you'd have told, they gave 5 runs that inning. If you'd have told me that Ole Miss wasn't going to score the next 8 innings, I would have bet the house Arkansas would beat them. 5 runs should have beat them, and it did. They scored 2. But it seems like this team, when it goes bad for all of it. And that's what scares me, because that can happen in a series, especially a deal like Tennessee coming in, because you've got to play good ball to beat Tennessee.
Well, see, also in a situation like that, that's where you depend upon your leadership. Okay, you have to have your leaders stand up. You have to have your leaders. You have to have your leaders not only play well, but they also have to show the confidence to the other guys that, hey, we're, you know, no matter what the situation is, whether it's an error, whether it's a strikeout, it doesn't matter. We're still in it, and you got to keep that confidence in your, you know, part of being leader is keeping the confidence in your other teammates, you know, and letting them know, hey, I'm here to the end.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter what happens. I'm here, and you need that. We need that going into.
That was a Lloyd that kicked the ball, you know, and threw it away. So, you know, that was one of your leaders there, and I mean, he's made up for it a million times. Don't get me wrong. I love the. I mean, like I said, I think he's the best player in college baseball. But, you know, you do need him playing well. You need Root. You need Hot Rider. You need Gage Wood and those guys. And then, like I said, but. That's the only thing that scares me about this team, because they are really. This is Van Horn's best team in some time. He's a lot better than the last 2 years. A lot better team than the last 2. But they're, you know, it's just, that's the only thing I worry about, is just when it seems to go bad, it goes bad for the whole team.
Well, see, guys, I played on teams and play with, and being a leader. When you are, it's amazing how when the leader steps up and performs, it brings out the other players, and they build the confidence, and they start coming through. But you can't expect the other players to pull the leader. The leader has to pull the other players. Okay?
I call that the MJ effect.
And I thought that happened last weekend with, you know, Lloyd had a great weekend. Ryder had a great weekend. Cam had a great weekend. Root pitched great. Wood pitched great. I thought that's what happened last weekend, is the leaders, best guys, whatever you want to call it, leaders, they stepped up, and then everybody else, they fell in line.
But see, the key too is the consistency of that, carrying it over from to the next series. And the thing is, the other players are looking at the leaders. You can't be hot and cold as a leader. I mean, you have got to be, you know, no matter whether your game is going well or not, you got to find other ways. It's almost like a basketball analogy, you know, where, you know, if your outside shot is not working, then you take it to the hole. Okay, a leader's got to find it. If you're not hitting home runs or hitting base hits, then do something that sparks and bring out the other players. Okay, until you're there to carry it forward. I mean, it's so fragile. I mean, and we've been unfortunate in the last few years to not get those breaks, to not have those moments where the leaders stepped up. Okay, and the leaders performed to pull everybody else with them instead of waiting on everybody else to pull the leader. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it does, and it doesn't work that way. And one of the things that I have also noticed too is that Dave has picked a leader or told a guy in the clubhouse that's really resembling what Dave does as a coach, as a skipper, because he's identified the guy that's going to be that constant metronome for this team this year. And I'm not saying that he hasn't done that in past years, but it seems like it's kind of striking a chord with everybody on that roster, that with the consistency and also with the like a metronome, always same tick every time. Everybody knows exactly what's going to be said, how it's going to be said. Whenever you have that in the clubhouse, that resonates, because it gives one, I correct me if I'm wrong, a sense of calm, because you know that your leader is going to be stepping up at that moment when you need him the most. Because the consistency is there that he showed all season. He's a Golden Spikes finalist, top 3 baseball player now in the nation that's been recognized. And when you have a guy like him, Cam Koshel and Ryder Helfrich, when you have those guys, it does permeate through the entire clubhouse.
Oh, it does. I'm telling you from experience, it does. I mean, it makes a difference. It makes a difference when you have that leaders that who's not willing to give up no matter what the situation is. I don't care how far we're behind, we're still not giving up. And you need that. Okay. And it may not make a difference in the early part of the season, but this is the time when it does.
Yeah, big time.
This is the time when it does.
Yeah.
He's upgraded the talent level over there too, just the overall talent level on that team. I mean, as I said, you got those 3 outfielders. You've got Carson Bowles hitting 300, can't even get on the field. So I mean, stuff like that. So Kendall Diggs, is like the 4th or 5th outfielder. So you've upgraded the talent there, and then you just. But it still comes down to your best players playing their best at this time too, not just during the season, but right now.
Right, but at this time, guys, we had good players the last few years.
Yeah,
I mean, he's had good teams and good players.
Yeah,
it just didn't. It just didn't work together. I mean, when it came to the pressure times and came to the most important times, the mixture wasn't working right. Okay. And, it's just until he keeps knocking on the door until he gets it. And I'm his biggest fan. Coach Van Horn, I have much love and respect for Coach O'Brien because of all that he's done for me. And also have the same for Coach Van Horn. I'm his biggest fan because I know how hard he's work with the players. I know how much he cares for the players, and I know how much he wants them to win. It's just that they've got to do it. They've got to do it. Everybody can want it for you, but you've got to be the one to go out and do it.
I got a question for you. You're a batter standing in the box. You're looking at either Gage Wood or Zachary right now, right? How hard is it for you as a hitter to combat those guys when they're dropping curveballs, off-speed pitches for strike every time so consistently?
Well, when I was playing, you would have to, we studied the pitchers very closely, especially before the ball game as they're warming up, to see what's working for them. What are they struggling with? Are they struggling with the pitch? Are they, and if they're struggling with the pitch, then that's not the pitch I look for when I go up. And if he throws a strike, he gets me. But I don't look for that pitch. Okay. I look for the ones that he's if he's throwing a great slider, then I'm looking for a slider. Great pitchers sometimes they overpower you, but you still use technique. You still use whatever, you still use the same grit and grind as a hitter, as a pitcher is. And you just figure out a way to get it done. You wait and be patient, and sometimes you get him and sometimes you don't. But when he does give you that pitch, you have to take advantage of it.
Yeah. I really felt like both, Root and Wood on Friday, Saturday, were doing a really good job of mixing it up in the zone, where hitting the hot, top of the zone, bottom of the zone. That's where Kansas really messed up with Creighton, was, leaving stuff in the fat part of the plate. They were leaving in the middle third, and you cannot survive leaving stuff in the middle of the third against any college team, because it doesn't matter if it's D1, 2, 3. It doesn't matter. If you leave it right there, they're going to hit it. And I think that's where Arkansas was able to really capitalize all weekend, was making sure that they were staying out of the middle third. They were changing speeds. They were also changing eye level. And that's really what was, I think, the most success that they had.
I think, and also when I look at the last few years with the teams, as they got farther into the tournament, some of the hitters started getting impatient. And when you start facing better competition, the worst thing you can do is get impatient, because they take advantage of that. Yeah. So you got to be just as patient the farther you go up, because the pressure is going to get greater. And how you deal with it determines who wins it all.
And the further you go, probably the better pitcher you're going to face. Let's be honest.
Yes, you go to pitch.
I mean, you know,
yes,
you're going to see better this weekend than last weekend, and then
yes.
you get to Omaha, you're going to see better than, you know. I don't know if there'll be better than Liam Doyle, but there's going to be a Liam Doyle. Yeah. There's going to be some guys like that on every team. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, you know, and that's another thing too. They lost the game without Liam pitching last time. They can't count on. I don't think they can count on him going 4 innings, giving up 11 hits and 8 runs. See, I think you need to jump. I'm not saying they can't beat him; they can, but I'm just saying you need to take care of business when he's not on the mound. Right. And if he beats you, okay, but you still got 2 others. But I'm not letting those other 2 beat me. And one of them did the last time. Now,
exactly.
I just can't count on Doyle having the game he had last time. You know, that's just like Lloyd, threw that ball away at the SEC tournament. He didn't do it last weekend. Those guys ain't gonna keep doing that same thing. So you just, absolutely right. I'm not counting. I'm going to take care of when Doyle's not on that mound. I'm taking care of business. I'm going to try to anyway. I mean. I know they try, but I mean, I think you've got to really make that time count, you know.
See, that's one of the things Coach Van Horn is very good at, is not letting their best player beat you.
Yeah.
Okay. If we lose, we're going to lose. It's not going to be to the best player. Not going to give him that opportunity or give him a chance.
Yeah. You know, that's the thing. I mean, you know, he go out there and pitch a perfect game. I'm not saying he won't, but I mean, he got there and pitch a perfect game. But if you beat the other 2 guys, you're not going to let. You can't let him beat you, and then another guy beat you too. You know, you just can't. You got to, you got to go win 2 games this weekend, and you know, to me, if he's not on that mound, you need to make those times count.
Yep.
And see, as a player, you have to go in with the mindset of knowing that things are going to get tougher. I mean, you're going to get tougher pitching.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the hitters. I mean, everything is going to get tougher. So you have to get just as tough.
Yeah.
I mean, first you have to know it mentally, and then you have to deal with it physically.
You're right. There's been some impatience. So, I mean, there's some of them getting impatient in the past, you know, and it was obvious. And you do that, you're putting yourself in the hole, and you're putting the pitcher up here, and you're down here, you know, and you stay focused and don't beat yourself. Let him, you know, if guy beats you throwing curveballs and 100-mile-an-hour, whatever. Yeah. I mean, if he beats you that way, you go back, get him next time. But you go up there and you help him out on 1 or 2 pitches, you're defeating the purpose, man.
See, the one thing that I learned too when I was playing was when you get to better competition and very good competition, when it comes to a pitcher, you may only get 1 or 2 good pitches.
Yeah.
So I mean, you gotta decide on what you want to do. You can't go after everything. You gotta let him make a mistake, and you gotta capitalize on that mistake.
And most times they will make a mistake, but if you make a mistake before that is, you know, it may not help you. But yeah, most pitchers, they're going to Rude, Doyle, Gage, all of them. They're going to like Gage pitched a great game last weekend, but he made that one mistake to that guy, and he had a 3-run homer, you know. Yeah. But that happens, but you can't just continuously make those mistakes, you know. I mean, but every pitcher's going to make a mistake or 2, but you got to make them pay when they do.
The worst thing you can do is to help them. That's the worst thing you can do to a good pitcher. You don't want to help him. No. I mean, if he's a good pitcher, make him work. Yeah, but if you're swinging at everything, and you know he's swinging at balls in the dirt and balls out of the strike zone, you're helping him. So he's not having to work very hard. You got to make a good pitcher work hard. You got to make it work.
Yep. Everybody, I want to thank y'all for joining us. We are here live at Torchy's Tacos here in Rogers. Got Razorback great Arvis Harper that's joining us this evening. You know, Arvis, I have a quick question for you. What's the first thing that you're looking for whenever you start to notice, or what can you identify whenever you see a batter is getting impatient at the plate?
When I see a batter getting impatient at play,
what's the first tell that you can see?
Swinging the balls out of the strike zone.
Yeah, just swinging at bad pitches, man.
Jittery, you know, he's jumping at everything. You know, whether it's a ball or a strike, he's jumping. Okay, then you've got him as a pitcher. You've got it because now
swinging at bad
pitches.
Don't
have to put too many balls in the strike zone because he's going to help you out. And I feel like that's part of what we've done in the last few years when we got closer. Is you know we jumped at a lot of balls, and we didn't make them work. You got to make these guys work. Great players make them be great. Okay, I've always been told that coming up. Great players make them be great. Don't help them out.
I'm gonna come out of left field, man. I mean, it's out of left field. Did Philip Dokes and Bruce Woolridge, did they come after you or with you? Or I mean, did they play
when
you
came with me? They came with me.
I'm gonna tell you, Philip Dennis Dokes was the best defensive lineman I've ever seen in this state, man.
Yes, Philip.
A lot of people don't know that, but Philip Dennis Dokes was his name. I told his brother that the camera guy one day, but that Philip Dokes was the best. And I know it's completely off mark, but Philip Dokes was one hell of a defensive lineman, the best I've ever seen, man.
We're a very good football team back then. Yeah. High school football team. We had a very good football team.
I thought they played when you did. I thought that, but I wasn't for sure. I remember all you guys. God, that's been 50 years, 40 years ago. So but I'm gonna tell you. But yeah, Arvis quarterback, but Woolridge was receiver. Bruce Woolridge with the Rice. Philip Dokes with the Oklahoma State's defensive tackle and defensive lineman. But yeah, Dokes, man,
went on to play with the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, he was the best I've ever seen in that position. He really was. I mean, sad he died at an early age. But
Gary Berry, do you remember Gary Berry back then?
Yeah, Gary Berry was another good one. I mean, he just didn't have the size that Dokes had. Dokes had that size, but Gary Berry was a tough son of a gun, man. I mean, man, pound for pound, maybe the best there was, Yes, we just didn't have that, as many pounds as Dokes had,
I was just glad those guys were on my team.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you were, man. I'd get hit with those guys. But, yeah, those were North Little Rock. That was some talent back then, man. I remember that well. I was back. I'd just gotten out of high school, man, and was into recruiting. And I remember all you guys and get Dave Campbell's Arkansas football, and then I'd go watch it. I started with like Eckwood, Jerry Eckwood, Hattie Eckwood. His mother used to sit with her at games at Brinkley. Of course, I think I was Darren McFadden's press agent his senior year. I saw 7 games he played his senior year. And Darren, I'd go get on the sideline. He always asked the coach, is it okay if I go give him a hug? He'd come give me a hug. But, Darren McFadden and those guys. Anyway, I'm sorry. I got this off track. But I wanted to ask you. But, I
tell you guys, before we change that, I have to tell you, Eckwood was one of the best running backs I have ever seen.
He got hurt.
Back in high school, he was a man against boys. Yeah. If he hadn't gotten hurt, it's no telling what he
exactly, man. That's the thing. Now people don't realize that because it's so long ago. Right. But I'm telling you, Jerry Eckwood was unreal, man. He had the size. He could throw the football. People don't understand that kid could throw the football like Darren McFadden. Both of them could throw football. They could have played quarterback, and been better than some of the ones that did. But Eckwood was unreal. That's when you guys at North Little Rock, Eckwood, and those guys, that's kind of when I got started in this recruiting, is you, Woolridge, Dokes.
Right.
Mainly Dokes and you, but Woolridge some, and then Gary Berry, but Eckwood, and then, just build it up from there. But that's kind of some of the guys back then. I remember Will Robinson and Ken Smith over at Little Rock, not North Little Rock, but Little Rock, and man, I remember those. But Jimmy Walker.
Yes.
Was Pat Jones still in Little Rock at that time, or he had moved on to the college game? I didn't know if Pat Jones was still Pat Jones. Was he still Coach Pat Jones? Was he still coaching in Little Rock at that time, or he already moved on to college?
I'm not sure. Pat Jones?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay, I think he may have moved on because I know that he was on Jimmy Johnson's staff at Oklahoma State in the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Whenever before Jimmy had moved on, but before he went to Miami, but. I think that Pat might have been already at Oklahoma State by that time.
You're right about Eckwood, though, man. You're right about him. That was a guy that people just don't know because they didn't see him. But I saw him, and I'm gonna tell you. I mean,
he was incredible. I mean,
I've seen a bunch of great running backs. The 3 best ones I've ever seen in the state is not in any order, but McFadden, Eckwood, and Shabazz. Those were the 3 that I think. Basile and Eckwood and McFadden. I put McFadden one, but you can put them in any order you want to. And there's no wrong answer. There's no wrong answer. But I mean, I'd put McFadden one, but there's no wrong answer to that. Those guys. But the thing about McFadden and Eckwood, they can throw a football, man. I mean, I don't know if Basile. But all three of those kids could have played a lot of positions too. They didn't have to play running back. They could have. All of them could have been safeties, receivers, whatever.
See, we grew up in a time where when you played different positions.
Yeah.
You know, there was no specialty position per se.
No,
I mean, you played a little. You may play both ways.
And a lot of the kids back then, their receivers now are playing corners. They were running backs back then, but now they move them around. But those three guys were. I mean, I've saw D'Angelo. There's been a lot of great running backs, man, but those are the three I put up there. Those are the best defensive linemen I've seen. So I mean, that's just kind of my 2 cents on it.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I was there too with Dan Hampton when Dan was. Arkansas, so he was one of
Dan and Jimmy Walker and Dale White on that defensive line, man. That was Dirk came out the house when he was here with Danny Ford. Yeah, it's Danny Ford's assistant. He'd come out the house and eat, and I was married then, and we'd cook up a big meal, and he'd come out and eat with us. And and we'd eat at Wendy's on Fridays, me and Dennis would, if they weren't going away for a game. So, Dennis, I love Dirk Winston, man.
Yeah.
So
I was there with all those guys.
When he beat Southern Cal over at Little Rock, he hit, I believe it was Anthony Davis, but whoever the running back was, he hit at Southern Cal at War Memorial. The ball come up the stands. I was sitting in the stands. That ball came up there by me in the stands when Dennis hit that running back. I was just a fan then and sitting in the stands, and that ball came up and I could have caught it. I mean, it was right there by me at War Memorial Stadium.
So I have a quick question for you, Arvis. I want to go back to baseball here for just a second. We're going to go in baseball heavy today just because Arkansas is going to be in the Super Regional starting on Saturday facing Tennessee. I know baseball players are a creature of habit. They have their own little routines that they do before they get up to the plate, before they get to the baseball stadium or to the park. Did you have any special routines that you did before you would get there?
It was the only thing that I can think of. I remember, I was playing during the times when they had stirrups.
Yeah.
A lot of the young guys don't even know what that is, but I had to have mine a certain way. Okay. I had to have my I wasn't one though that if I wore my sleeves underneath, that if we won, I didn't wash it. Yes, I washed my sleeves. I just wore the same one. Okay. I didn't get a new one. I just kept washing the same one and wearing the same one. But other than that, I really didn't have, maybe try to eat at the same time, keep the routine together. That's the important thing is for consistency, you have to keep, if you have a routine and keep it consistent, then you're comfortable with it, and it makes things a little bit easier, makes the transition a little bit easier.
So everybody, I want to thank you guys for joining us. We are here live at Torchy's Tacos here in Rogers. Got Arvis Harper, former Razorback great, joining us this evening, kind of previewing the Arkansas-Tennessee series. So just kind of before we wrap it up really quick, what's one thing that you look for this Razorback team? If they're going to succeed, what do you think that you're going to see as far as from the team perspective at the plate, also on the mound? What are the a couple of things that you want to see that that's going to lead them to success this weekend?
Pretty much the same thing that I do with a lot of other teams is, how do you deal with the moment when things aren't going well? The great teams work through it. The great teams get through it. So, everybody's going to have those moments when things aren't going right. Everybody's going to have that moment when you're not hitting right, you're not pitching right. How do you get through that to get to the win? You got to figure out a different way of doing it. And the great teams do. The great players do. So that's what I look for. I'm looking for, okay, there was a shortstop error. Okay, now how are they going to get past that? Okay, pitchers pitching great, and all of a sudden he makes a mistake and they hit one. How's he getting past that? Those are critical moments that make a difference. And so that's mainly what I'm going to be looking for, just like I have the last few years. That's what I'm going to be looking for this year. Is how do they, not the great moments, because everybody's going to have the great moments. How do you get through the bad ones? How do you get through the tough ones?
And some of these great teams can absorb an error or a missed pitch, a fly ball into foul territory that you drop, which those seem to always come back and haunt you the most.
Exactly. You're right. But see, the great teams get past that. Okay? Because it's going to happen to everybody.
Yeah.
At some point in time, it's going to happen to every team. There's going to be that routine play that they didn't make, that cost them a run or cost them, but you got to play through that.
Yeah.
You know,
adversity hits everybody, man.
Yes, it happens to everybody. It happens to every team, happens to every player.
All right, Otis, I'm going to turn it to you for just a second. You know what's coming. You know what's coming. You're 2 for 2. Can you go 3 for 3? Who is somebody that we can keep an eye on this weekend that you see might have some success?
Well, I'm going to stay in line with kind of what we've talked about. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, well, he was Loy. And I mean, that's not really going out on a limb, but I'm going to say that he's the best player. I think he steps up this weekend, man. I mean, you know, that's kind of what we've talked about. He needs to, and I picked Alfred last week. I'm going to go ahead and say Loy. Well, he was. And I think that it could be Davlon, it could be one of those outfielders, but I think Loy is really going to step up and have a big weekend.
Guys, just like what I said, watch and see how the team responds when things aren't going well.
Yeah. Okay.
That'll determine a lot. That'll tell you a lot about the team.
Yeah. If Loy steps up and plays great, you can bet they're going to be in really good shape probably because everybody else will fall right in line, you know, and it's just. And I think he will.
That means your superstar is superstar, and that's exactly what.
I mean, I know people say, "Well, that's not going out on a limb," but I mean, I'm not. I'm just saying that he's going to play above, you know, because he had some down spots there for a while. He did, and you know, I mean, his down spots are better than most people's up spots. But I mean, I think he's going to take that next level, take it to another level this weekend.
I hope he does. No,
they need him to. Need them all to, but they need him to.
Yep. And I think the one thing that I'm going to look for this weekend is how well does the bullpen execute on the mound, because it right now the way it's kind of set up that I've seen and I've noticed now all season and especially with the regionals, Dave's got 9 guys he's looking for. 9 guys. Your starter, your middle, and your relief. Right. It doesn't matter how many innings your middle and your relief pitch, but as long as they're able to stay ahead of the tidal wave and not get swallowed up by the power that Tennessee has at the plate, if they can stay ahead of the count, not fall behind, because that's what we saw last week whenever they were taking on Wake Forest in those 2 games, is that Tennessee pitching kept consistently getting behind the count, and that's what was keeping Wake in the game. If Arkansas can stay ahead in the count on their bullpen, I think that's where I think that's going to be the one thing that can lead them to a College World Series appearance.
I tell you, another thing that could make a difference is we need our star pitchers to go as long as they can and not put so much pressure on the middle.
Exactly. That's what they've done the last weekend, and they haven't done that at times. All of them rooting, all of them have gone a couple innings here, Wood a couple innings here. That kills your bullpen. But when your starters are doing like you said, what they did last weekend, the starters gave them some innings.
Yes.
Even the kid on Monday, he gave them four something innings, you know, which is twice what he gave them his first start. And that's not great. But because Root and Wood went deep in the game, Dave had a rested bullpen for your third starter, where he only went 4.1 innings, I think, or 4.2. But you had a rested bullpen, so that didn't hurt him. But Root and Wood gave them big innings, and that's huge, man. I was going to make that point too, Arvis. That's the key, man. And they haven't done that all year. Times they have and times they haven't, but they did last weekend, and they need to do it again. They need to do it going forward, not just this weekend, but going forward.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, that's going to be a key to look for too. On moving forward, how long are our starters going? Yeah. If our starters are only lasting 2 or 3 innings and we're relying on our middle then we're going to be in problem.
It takes its toll eventually on the bullpen, man. It really does.
You can't put that kind of pressure on the bullpen.
This could be a weekend where it's a 10-7 game and not a 2-1 game. Your starters at this point, your starters are not really on too much of a pitch count on, 70, 80. Oh, they're through 4 innings. We got to pull them out.
I think Wood had 82 or something last weekend. He had the most he's had all season.
Dave's going to leave him out there for
he had
100,
I want to say 82
pitches,
maybe 85, something like that. But Wood was out there quite a while.
Yeah. It's the same thing, too, with the reverse of the hitters. With our hitters, if our hitters can get their starters out early, it gives us a better chance.
Yeah.
So it works. It works both ways.
Yeah. You need to deplete that bullpen, man.
Yeah. Get into that bullpen. You got a chance.
Earlier the better.
You got a good chance.
And it's going to be a chess game because college baseball players don't see the starting pitching but one time really a year. I heard Bill Elson make this point real quick, and we're going to wrap it up here, Arvis. But whenever you have, you're starting pitching, facing guys multiple times, now it's a chess match. This isn't a straightforward gun them down type thing. Now you're going to see some more maneuvering, and so that's what also I'm looking forward to is that chess match between both of the managers.
You're right. It's going to be a chess match, and it all depends on how well the big pieces play.
All right, well, Arvis, thank you for joining us this evening, man. It's been an incredible time with you, and I appreciate it. We're going to have you on again. And for Otis, myself, Jason, I want to say, tell you guys, take care. Go out and see the Razorbacks this weekend, and go Hogs.
Thanks, man.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Y'all, it's time for some damn good tacos in college football. We're excited to announce our title sponsor, Torchy's Tacos, for the Arkansas Football Report with Otis Kirk, and the new addition to the Hogville.net family, the Arkansas pregame show starring former Hog running back Marshall Foreman, hosted by Jason Pattison. If you're looking for a place to unwind and call the Hogs, Torchy's is the place. Torchy's location on MLK in Fayetteville is the proud host of the Arkansas pregame show, and it will air 2 hours prior to kickoff of each Fayetteville home game. The Arkansas Football Report airs every Thursday at 7 p.m. in Rogers. Check out the full-service bar on the patio or in the restaurant while you cheer Arkansas on to victory. Torchy's has you covered with the daily drink specials or the taco of the month with their queso that's made in-house fresh daily. Torchy's has 2 convenient locations in Northwest Arkansas, which happen to be the only 2 locations here in the great state of Arkansas. They have you covered for some damn good tacos, and go Hogs.